Over the past couple of weeks, we've been speaking about forecasting. Now, today we're going to talk about what you can do to make sure you build pipeline effectively so that you can have an amazing 2022 and close more deals. The strategies here, coupled with what you've heard already, are going to make you some money. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist podcast. I'm your host, Donald Kelly, the Sales Evangelist, and I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And on this episode, we have Mr. Bill Golder coming on the podcast. He's a Chief Revenue Officer of an amazing company. It's called Service Express, and you can find information about them in the show notes. They are hiring, and I would recommend you check them out as well. Bill and I got a chance to connect. He actually lived in South Florida for a while, and we were able to reminisce about the life down here in South Florida and all the cool stuff. He's up in Michigan right now, and somebody has to take care of the sunshine, so I stayed in Florida. But Bill is doing some amazing things, and the company is doing fantastic, and they're growing in so many awesome ways. You're going to hear about some of this in the episode, specifically more so on how Bill and his team are really building pipe, how they're doing this effectively, their process and their strategy that can help you. If this is your first time listening to our podcast or watching one of our videos, I urge you to subscribe. And if you have done so already, please leave us a rating and review. It just goes a long way, and I would be eternally grateful for that. As we dive into the episode, you're going to get a chance to hear a little bit more about Bill's experience, some of the things that he's doing, and also just lead right into the conversation as we talk about some of the challenges that sellers are facing when it comes towards forecasting.
Well, I think the feelings have to be calibrated against your sales process, right? So, for instance, in our world, the early stage of our sales process, we have what's called a discovery tree with a number of discovery questions that give us real insight as to whether or not this conversation or this early stage, discussion with a prospect is actually going to lead to an opportunity that I can close, right? And I think every company should have, kind of that stage gate in their discovery process, so that if I feel good about an opportunity, which, we have those conversations all the time, like, why do you feel good? That should marry up with kind of the checklist of things that we've uncovered in the discovery process that suggests and actually validates why I should feel good, right? Like I'm talking to the right person or team of people that actually can move this forward, and they actually have. I've validated that they have urgency or some degree of priority around wanting to do, make a change, and there's a timeline, right? And so, all those things have to be a part of that early stage in order for me to validate why I feel good. Because you're right, I think barring a sales process that has some definitive kind of measures around that, I could feel good just because I had a good conversation and somebody liked me. But that's different than I've identified a business problem that they want to solve that's important to them, and I'm talking to the right person or team of people that can actually, make some commitments and move this down the road. So, yeah, I think the biggest mistakes are close to the topic we were just talking about, which is I think assuming. There's a lot of assuming sometimes that happens, particularly in less experienced salespeople, where we assume something is as important to them as we thought. Priority in our customer or prospects, so understanding prioritization is a miss oftentimes with sellers, because of course what we're selling, we think it's really important, and we're passionate about what we do, and we think we can solve real problems. But I think really understanding what are the other priorities that are sitting, on the desk of who we're selling to understand where this particular decision might sit relative to the other things they're trying to solve for, is often a big miss. And that's why you see deals get pushed or pipeline kind of, I think languish, is that we haven't done a very good job of understanding priority. And then therefore not been as good from a selling perspective as really uncovering how do I really align what we do and the problems we solve with some of the things that are most important to this, this prospect I'm talking to. And if I don't do that, then the can's going to get kicked down the road. And so I think when we see challenges in our pipeline, it's often not, like because we've lost. It's deals that just keep getting pushed. And I think, I see that with other sales leaders I've talked to in other companies too. And I think that's largely rooted in really not understanding prioritization and or not understanding what are kind of the big rocks that this prospect or customer is trying to solve, and have I connected my solution well enough to some of the big things they're working on that they want to put this particular decision higher on the list, right? And put some urgency behind it, or put some skin in the game on it. So I think that's the biggest challenge I see. Yeah, I mean, I think, the things that we are often working on is how do we make better decisions around what we spend time on. So I think activity, whenever somebody's trying to build pipeline and they don't have enough, there's a danger where you can swing your activity levels and kind of what I would call build up a bunch of noise in your pipeline that isn't necessarily the stuff that's going to produce real late stage pipeline, real deals that are closable, winnable. You create a lot of activity to build pipeline in a kind of a frenetic way. And so I've seen kind of that swing happen. We've been guilty of it. We do it. I've done it. And I think individual sellers in particular, when they get behind, they can sort of kind of get into activity mode and not be smart about it. So I think really understanding like, what are the kinds of deals and the types of customers that I win most often, and understanding the attributes of those customers and those deals, and trying to identify, the lookalikes that I'm going to spend time on, so that I can, really be more efficient with my selling time. So I think that's another area that I often see individuals and organizations, kind of make mistakes on.
That was Bill Golder, and if you have not done so, please go ahead and connect with him. Tell him that you heard him here on the Sales Evangelist podcast. Tell him that Donald recommended you connect with you. His information is in the show notes. You can find him on LinkedIn. Again, their company's hiring, so you can check them out and learn from them. If there's one thing I want you to take from this, is just understand the difference between this early stage and late stage, pipe, and also recognize that there's no two opportunities are created equally. I mean, there's certain characteristics that you can take from each of them. So they're gonna have their differences. So I want you to take advantage of that and check it out, and to better understand and see it for yourself. By practicing the things that you've heard from Bill today. As always, our sponsors on this podcast are absolutely phenomenal. They're doing some amazing things, and they're giving out some awesome offers, and I want you to take advantage of them. Tell them that you heard them on the Sales Evangelist, and take advantage of those deals. As always, I want you to find more of those ideal customers. I want you to know what to say when you reach out to them. I want you to close more deals. But most importantly, I want you to raise your level of thinking and go out and do big things. Thanks so much for watching.